Welcome to another SPbN revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Fuck 'em, never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is a World of Darkness role-playing community broadcasting from St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. It's Friday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Hounds, our second Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in Tampa Bay, Florida, where a young pack of Garou have come as reinforcements to the Sept of the Evening Star to help combat the forces of the Worm and help build the new Garou nation. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed in the description down below, and you can join our community by following that Discord link where you could take part in one of the many activities we have running all month long. We also have a couple new tables starting soon that are looking for players, so come join our community. Now, let's introduce our players. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jay, and I'll be playing Forge from Failures, Bonar Rune, and leeches are not friends, but food.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikki, and I will be playing Delphine Ruinspeaker, the Silent Strider Theurge.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben, and I'll be playing Raymond Gorn, the Ghost Council Philodox.
Hello there, my name is Katie, and I will be playing Aurora Rory Woods, the Bonar Galliard.
Hey everyone, my name is Lilith, and I'll be playing Juniper Kameen, the Ragabash Black Fury. And I know that leeches are not friends, but are also not food.
So before we get into attempting to recap the events of last week, a brief programming note. Next week will be our final episode of the summer before we go into a 6-week break. We'll be returning in late September with Hounds resuming at the end of summer. So stay tuned for our scheduling notes, but next week will be our final episode before we go on break. And trust me, you won't want to miss that. But Pack, let's talk about last week, shall we? And all the fun that was had then. Raymond made a phone call to Aspen to talk about what was on the negotiating table to convince the other Septs to assist in the endeavor to get iron from the mine. And then there was some talk about the conversations that were had between Red and Aspen and what the truth was over the discussions regarding Delphine. Raymond questioned the truth of what Aspen said and what Red said. And now, having to believe two sides, knowing one of them must be lying, Raymond's loyalties are being questioned by himself and possibly by his Sept leader in Florida. We then saw Juniper and Forged head to the house that was available for rent, and they decided to investigate said house on their own before they discovered the other going to investigate as well. After a brief confrontation and a seeming understanding, they went to investigate together until they found a locked basement. This caused it to become a confrontation once more until Forge decided to break into the basement and go looking further. They found out that the house belonged to Rick Rogers, the Galliard of the Hell Sept. Once they found that there were some treasures in the basement, Forge took it upon himself to help himself to these treasures, thinking that they might be of some value. Juniper attempted to stop him, and things got violent. Very, very violent. And while it may have seemed that at times one or the other were attempting to stop things, once Juniper frenzied, it was all over. Forged was knocked unconscious, and Juniper was prepared to devour him. But then the spirits stepped in, and all they could remember was darkness. And then Delphine and Rory went searching in the woods, came upon stakes, had a beautiful, heartfelt moment, and put all of our hearts back to a normal rhythm. And then the pack reconvened and had the bodies of Juniper and Forged delivered to them unconscious by the Hell Sept who had discovered them in the basement. This led to a very awkward moment, and now we are all caught up. Pack, we find ourselves a couple of days removed from Forged and Juniper being delivered to the hotel room. Delphine, you've managed to take over the care of Forged and Juniper. You're able to heal their wounds a little bit at a time, assisting in their recovery. Juniper, you have been trying to piece together the events of that night. A good chunk of them still missing in your memory. Forged, you also not knowing a good chunk of that night's events. Knowing that the deliberations, the negotiations between yourselves as emissaries of the Sept of the Evening Star in Florida and the Hell Sept are nearing. The whole purpose of your visit in Michigan, the whole purpose of you being here, are on the horizon. After the events of just a couple of days ago, what part will that play in the negotiations? It's very unlikely that they will go overlooked, considering The last time this pack was here, it was under very similar circumstances when Forged, formerly known as Deadbeat, and Delphine were shamed for breaking into and doing damage to another Sept elder's home. Raymond, you know that you have to discuss with your pack, with all the information you've gained from Aspen and Red over these past couple of weeks, what the plan is going into these negotiations. And now, with all of this new information you've gained over the last couple of days, you know that you're coming in with a disadvantage and how to approach these negotiations. Your frustration hasn't diminished at all. In fact, that frustration may even be bordering on outright anger at this situation. And then there's Rory and Delphine, who have had to be bystanders throughout this entire affair. Rory, who has had a pretty reasonable trip, having not offended Stakes on the first day, having had a good encounter with Aaron, and having looked forward to meeting Rick, the Galliard of the Sept, only to have her packmates make mistake after mistake after mistake. And then Delphine, who has dreaded this trip from the start and has tried to avoid trouble the entire time. As you all gather together in the motel room, Stakes coming in to join you, the scene is yours.
I will be sitting there, just trying to go over everything in my head, trying to figure out a plan, trying to compile the information. And at the moment, I'm not really ignoring the rest of the pack, but I'm trying to think without like worrying about what's going on around me. And I'm just mumbling underneath my breath, have my notebook that I carry around in my breast pocket out, writing stuff down and trying to formulate whatever is going on, and just letting them do whatever is they're doing at the moment while I'm trying to figure out the best solution.
I am just laying down, kind of curled up in on myself, still feeling pretty crappy from the events of that fateful night, and pretty much just brooding.
Forge right now is kind of sitting on the bed, still recovering, still a lot of damage that was done to him that he's trying to heal from. Currently high on pain medication and trying to play his guitar to somewhat success. He's strumming some strings, trying to make some sort of song. He's been very quiet lately.
Rory's kind of just sitting in her own little area of the room with both her earbuds in, kind of like tapping her fingers on her notepad and like her notebook as she's just kind of like trying to write down probably another set of song lyrics, but anytime she does write something down, it's instantly like crossed out. And just kind of has a frustrated expression on her face.
Delphine is honestly just sitting by stakes, just watching Ray and just waiting. Because she knows that talks about negotiations are going to be happening here soon, and she's just waiting on him to start with the folder with all of the information Artie has gotten for them and before they made the trip up in her lap.
Probably after another 5 minutes of this silence, I will look up and glance around the room at everyone. Okay, so since we weren't able to talk about it a couple days ago, given this situation, the negotiations, the actual negotiations, are going to be happening here soon. And I was presented by Red a couple of paths we can take, potentially, when it comes to how to deal with the silver situation. Iron situation. So, the thought process we had coming up of us helping out and assisting and assaulting the mine with the Hell Sept is still on the table. It is still a possibility. Given the current situation now, though, with how hurt two of us are, and with potential goodwill that was potentially garnered while we've been here, might be a little bit less, and a trust that maybe we could have tried to form might be gone. That might be a little rough to do. If we choose that path, we would be staying here a little bit longer to try and first rest and then maybe figure out a better plan with them. But with the potential help from the Wisconsin and the Ohio Sept, if we're able to make deals with them to get reinforcements, Red said that potentially they can handle it all themselves. They might be able to just get the help from the Wisconsin and Ohio Septs and assault the mine themselves without us, without any assistance. And we could garner that trade deal, we could have that take place, and then we would be done.
I mean, that sounds like the better option, honestly. She'll look at stakes. No offense intended at all, but we're down in a rune. And Juniper is one of our other better fighters.
Yeah. But it also means we return empty-handed.
If that plan does move forward, if that's something that we can secure, because that all is determined on whether or not what we can give these two Septs in trade or deals is acceptable to them. It's all determined on that, which Aspen has given me some ideas on what they can offer. As us being envoys, we can somewhat make those promises. And potentially we could also sweeten the deal with any of our skill sets, personally. But at this moment in this junction, I agree that I think that's the best path forward.
We'd be returning empty-handed, but we do have 2 stones to make moon bridges. We establish those moon bridges, we could get back here a lot faster if needed.
We could also wait a little bit until after the mission is done, collect whatever iron they've collected, and then head out.
I don't know how long that's going to take, though. And I don't think Tampa's got that long.
So you're saying that we can either return with nothing and Tampa needs it right now, or we stay and Tampa still suffers because they need it right now.
I don't know the details of what's going on down there right now, but when I last spoke to Charles to report in, he mentioned a fucking dragon.
I'm sorry. A what?
He said something about a weregator that turned into a dragon, I think. And I didn't get much details of after that, but apparently a lot has happened down there since we've left.
At this point, I managed to sit up and wrap my arms around my knees and look around at everybody. What the fuck even is this anymore?
Our new life.
Ugh. Okay. Look. Forged and I have fucked things up here. And at this point, I don't know if negotiating them to handle getting the iron is necessarily a good idea, because they're now in a position to ask for a lot more than we can possibly even manage to give them.
The thing is, Red acknowledged that that was a pack scuffle. So if there is payment that has to be owed, or if there's a consequence, we would endure it, not the negotiations, hopefully not Tampa. So we could try and spin that. And if they do want something as payment or as repercussion, we can try to work something out as us, the pack, taking it and not hurting the negotiations with Tampa. But that's something we'd have to potentially tiptoe around and walk a fine line to make that deal work.
You mentioned Aspen brought up some ideas.
Yes. I mean, other than the information of the plants and the soil and what these people are doing, Aspen said that in trade we could give them knowledge. I mean, Eliza's knowledge base on rites, rituals, and everything spiritual is in depth. She's been around a very long time, so I agree that's a very good resource to try and use. She even said that they're open and willing to offer assistance with their problems within reason. You mentioned the moon bridges. Potentially we could set up moon bridges to these other septs to help when they need to, or to form good relations and send more envoys if they ever need them. She also mentioned their knowledge about building cairns. Not only Eliza, but a few of them also have a good knowledge base on dealing with spirits. And then she mentioned personal skill sets, so like Aspen with the legal issues, Artie's tech skills, Lucas in his building and smith skills. So she gave a lot of good ideas. It's just depending on whether or not they want those things, because I don't fully know at this moment what the other two Septs require or what they want exactly.
So we've got options, but no insight on what the other two Seps could want or need
Correct. But
from the up and coming new nation Sept down in what arguably is considered one of the more problematic states in the country.
yep. But I mean, I don't know. This is the part that's this is the crapshoot. I don't fully know if these other Seps will accept this, but if they do, the resources and the manpower that they'll send to help will be extremely helpful. So I'm hoping that at least one of these things they want, or we could persuade them to potentially take.
We should probably try to emphasize the threat though, because we can, like, what Pentex is doing down there is really bad. It's already spread here to Michigan, and we could try to frame it as that the state is currently being used as a testing ground for widespread manufacturing of this stuff.
It's a good point. I mean, one of us can explain that, and if we can spin it in a way that makes it sound, because it is a dire situation, but make it sound like this is something that everyone needs to help and take care of, I think that would push them to be a little bit more accepting of what we have to trade, and hopefully they will give the help that we're looking for.
Rory's the Galliard. She could potentially frame this a little theatrically and make it seem. And she'll look at Rory. Are you able to spin something like this into sounding a lot more dire? Which, honestly, it's pretty bad.
I think I can manage something. We have any specific talking points you want me to really pull the theatrics with? I'll come up with something.
Stepford Hell. Tell them that story.
Yeah, with the experiences that we've had, albeit limited experience to the situation, it is truly horrifying what we've seen and experienced. And if we can get that point across, Rory, I think that you can spin a good tale to truly get across what we saw.
we'll get that all going then. And she'll flip the page in her notebook and just start writing down like spark notes.
I would remind all of you, though, that you're talking to a group that has had their cries for help fall on deaf ears for a long time, that has gone ignored by the nation at large for a long time. Even if they are better now, which is what I'm hoping, they still have more than enough reason to have a grudge against the nation at large. They've been used time and time and time again for a long time for jobs and then discarded afterwards. How's this different? How's this any different? They're being brought in, they're being taken to do something else for someone else. Are they going to be forgotten about again after this? Are they going to be left to their own devices again after this? When they need help in the future, are they going to be abandoned? So far, it seems like everybody has an attitude when it comes to them. Everyone distrusts them and treats them pretty poorly, especially their property. Everyone looks down on them, just like the nation did. So if you're going to sell this to them, you're not coming from a very advantageous position anymore. If anything, you're sounding exactly like all the others. Holding out a hand expecting something from them while spitting in the other.
So what do you recommend then? You know them better than we do.
I agree that you have to acknowledge the threat. You have to tell them the danger they're in. But telling them that trying to give them some sort of sob story about how hard you've had it down there isn't gonna matter. Boo-hoo. Has it been difficult for you? Has it been hard for you? It's been hard for them too. It's been hard for them for decades. Nobody cared. Nobody helped. They only wanted things, more and more things. So trying to tell them about how bad it's been in Florida isn't going to matter. You can warn them about what's coming. That could help. Telling them what you know about the threat, that could help. Giving them valuable intel could help. That's why they wanted the formula. That's why they wanted the cure. A weapon to fight. These are the rough and tumble Guru. These are not the pretty words Guru. They don't care about the lovely stories. They want action, not words. So far, the actions from this group haven't been great.
So why don't we just quit while we're ahead then? I mean, clearly, fucked up. They're already upset. Apparently, we have nothing to work on for negotiation. Just cut our losses now, tell them what's going on, and go back sooner. At least we're there. So if some shit goes down, we're actually there to help instead of just being up here, holding our dick in our hands.
And go ahead, Bray.
Because unfortunately, we can't. I mean, this is something that we need to do. And this is something that if we don't accomplish, it'll have the situation snowball into something we can't control. We can't stop. And I don't know because I don't know the history as much about how they were all treated by the old nation, but we're actually here. We're actually willing to help. We're physically here and able. I don't know how they did it before, where if it was just send a message, do this thing for us. But we've offered our assistance. We're offering it. And the only reason that the path of them doing it themselves is brought up is because Red brought it up. I didn't state it. I didn't bring up the idea. He did. This is something that he offered.
Probably them trying to make good with all of you.
Or he was just testing you, seeing if you would actually let someone else do the dirty work instead of doing it yourself.
I told him I would want to be there to help and to assist. But he also doesn't want to see us get hurt. Also, he did say that when going into a situation like this, everyone needs to trust each other, and that trust isn't there. And I agree. I don't think that if we go in there, could you trust everyone from hell to have your back the entire time? And I know that they might not be able to do that with us anymore.
I don't have a problem with any of them. I mean, aside from Aaron being a cop, but I kind of fucked up with them, and they're treating me okay, so it can't be half bad.
Yeah, but do you even trust each other in this room? That's been called into question so many times this past week, this past month. I'm not even sure this group alone should go into a dangerous situation. There's so much shit that needs to be hashed out that hasn't been dealt with yet. I don't think it'd even be safe for any of you to go anywhere. Do you have each other's backs before you can count on any other groups to have your back? Two of you almost killed each other. Over what?
A box. A fucking box.
Yeah. We're gonna go into a mine with possible gunfire, possible threats from all around. Maybe stacks of boxes.
Stakes, you've seen us on that boat. You know that when shit really hits the fan, that we had each other's backs. And I know you're worried because we're your pups, but we're not just children. We can look, I at least got everyone's back here when it comes to a fight when things get down. If shit really was hitting the fan, if things really went bad, I trust that any of us in here would help each other. I mean, I've seen it happen before. And while I may be pissed off at some of them, some more than others, I don't want to see any of them die.
And what if you lose control? You don't even remember what happened that night. What if you lost control?
I lost. I at least know that one of you can take me down at least. I know if you all grouped up, probably do some work. It's what Charles taught, wasn't it? About having to potentially fight those who lose control.
That's if we're at full strength and not full of bullets. That's if we're not also fighting others at the same time. That's if we're not split up. It's a big mine. We might not all be able to be together. They might not want us all together.
At this point, my head kind of goes down, just sinking more into the bed. That I'll just let out a deep exhale and just say, I don't know. I do what the fuck you guys want to do. I'm just here.
I personally don't want to go back to Tampa having failed.
If we go back securing this trade deal, then we do succeed. Even if we go back empty-handed, like you said, we have secured the deal. They said they would set up a moon bridge. If we do that, it won't take us a week round trip to go grab the iron and come back. We'll be able to have a steady supply and get it quickly. So,
And distribute it as well.
A thought. 3 Septs are going to take some time to organize between themselves anyway. If we establish the moon bridge, if we go back even just temporarily to recover, we could always join them by taking the moon bridge back up and she'll look at Forged and Juniper. They do need to recover. Even if we were raring to go to fight, even if we did decide to just stay, they would still need time to recover. We could establish the moon bridge. We could check in down back home with everyone. We could have Eliza take a better look at these two. And when the time comes to actually attack the mine, we can do it.
If we have the time.
We'll have to make the time. Because Stakes was right. We can't let them feel like they're just being used again.
Or
something.
if we are going to use them, we have to make it worth their while.
Yeah. But that wasn't an option that was that I thought of when me and Red were talking, so we could present that to them. I mean, yeah, if we establish the moon bridge, we can come and go rather quickly. And if they do assault the mine, we can be there in an instant to help.
They say that they feel neglected by they felt neglected by the nation. Well, as Matthias so eloquently put it when we met him, this isn't the nation they knew, or they're trying to start a new nation. We extend to them an opportunity to be a part of that by by joining our Septs with a moon bridge.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that is really a great talking point for people who got screwed over by the nation, is telling them that, hey, they're another nation, we totally won't screw you over. Trust us, you're the moon bridge.
But did the old nation, the Hell Sept ever have a moon bridge connected to another major Sept? Stakes?
No.
So already that's more than what the old nation did.
Give them that little push about trust. Actions can always speak louder than words in moments like this.
And setting up a moon bridge shows a level of trust between the Septs, at least. The trust between us and them, though, that's something we would have to build a little bit more of.
We can also offer to fix the damages done to the house. I know a bit about construction, so we can offer that and fixing up anything else that needs repairs or anything like that. I've got a job. I can help pay for whatever gear was destroyed. It's something on top of it.
It all depends on what Rick wants. I don't know exactly what he would ask if when he learns about the situation and when he learns about the damage and the extent of it. But hopefully he'll be a little bit less extreme in a reaction. I don't know, Stakes. I didn't interact with Rick a lot when I was up here.
Even when things were at its worst, Rick was always reasonable. He was always one of the more gentle elders. He tended to stay away from a lot of the more troublesome things. And when things got bad, he traveled. He got away from it. He tried to help, but when everybody was having a hard time and they weren't able to be helped, he gave them space. If anyone's going to be understanding, it's Rick.
I guess that's a small plus in this situation.
Gotta be honest with you, though. This isn't a good position to be coming from. And you gotta be prepared to give. And you gotta be prepared to take it on the chin this time. If they want something, if they set terms, even if they seem bad, if you want to walk away with any kind of victory in this, you're going to have to be prepared to sacrifice and potentially compromise to your detriment. Because, yeah, you fucked up bad. Again. This is exactly like last time. Exactly. And while they're being more reasonable this time, It's the exact same. Almost to the letter. I don't know a better way to put it. They have the upper hand again. What they do with it, I don't know. I'm hoping they're going to be reasonable, but they have every right to just say no and send you away. The litany was broken again. It's their say.
Even in Rick even has the option to challenge them if he wanted to.
I just start to get a very far off look in my eyes as I just struggle with this entire conversation and trying not to feel more and more hopeless.
But they want a deal. I know they do. They want to do right. They're trying to make amends. We saw that in everything they've done so far. If they wanted to send you away, they would have. That night, when they brought you back, they would have sent you packing. They would have told you to get out of their territory. They would have brought you up on litany breaks that night. Clearly, they want you to come to the negotiating table. Could there be something else at play? Maybe. I'm not saying you shouldn't be cautious going in, but you have to understand, if they're going to ask for something, you might have to give it, whatever it is.
Usually when people are in a bad position and the other party still wants to negotiate, it means that that party wants something from the ones they're negotiating with. They want something from us specifically, from our Sept.
Or they wanted Rick to come back to weigh in, because it was his property.
It's been stated, it's a bad situation. But we have a little bit of an advantage than last time, because we're at least, from where we were, more together than when the last incident happened. So if they do want something, if they do need something, and they request it, hopefully we can all do it together and maybe lessen the load and not have one or two people take the brunt of the recourse.
Can I ask again, are we? Are we together, or are we going to be shooting snipes at each other again? Are we going to be shooting insults at each other in front of them again? Are we going to start arguing at each other again in front of them? Because that's what happened last time. That's what led to an argument in the parking lot. First day here. Are we together on this?
Like, I'll do whatever y'all say. I'll stick to the script.
Forged, I want you to actually want to be together. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I don't want you to follow a script. I don't want you to follow what everyone else does. I want your opinions. I want what you think. And I want you to want to follow and be with the pack. Because if you just follow the script, if you just do what everyone says to do, then we're not actually together.
Takes this many to have an argument, she says as she holds up 2 fingers. So it's not just you, Forged.
Well, what do each of us need to feel like we can be a pack, like act like a fucking pack?
At this point, everyone should lay their biggest issue out and we can try to deal with it. Face to face, as a pack, deal with whatever we need to deal with. Because, yeah, we need to be together before we go into these negotiations. And it's going to suck. But hopefully it helps.
You see Forge looks like kind of trying to work up something. You see like occasionally like a little scowl of anger kind of burrowing of your eyebrows before just kind of face just goes flat again. He'll just say, I don't have the energy for that right now. To be honest, if you want to know what I think we should do, I already said it. I think we should just go back. You know, cut our losses now. You know, if we go in there and get screwed over in negotiations, and it's what I'm used to, you know? The name, Boards from Failures, after all. That's my whole shit. So, what's one more to add to that fucking list, huh?
No.
Rory will put down her pen and paper and go sit at the foot of Forge's bed. With that mentality, it means they've already won. It means we've already lost. We can't go in thinking like that. I get that it's frustrating. And it is not looking ideal. But the second we start thinking like that, it's the second we lose.
And your name means failure in the past, not failure in the present. From failure, not in failure, not to failure. From.
I'm just tired of getting my hopes up and thinking things can change when they don't. And I don't understand how y'all do it, how you're all going to go into this negotiation, most likely going to fail or having to give up an arm and a leg for it, and still try and be optimistic about it. I guess that's just the difference between me and the rest of you.
We were chosen to do it. We were chosen by Aspen to do this. And we were chosen by Gaia to be this.
Maybe they were wrong. At least for my end.
Look, Forged, if Gaia chose me for this and wasn't wrong about it, then she wasn't wrong about you either.
I'm the last person she should have chosen, and I'm here.
And yet you all managed to fuck up a lot less than I do.
The only difference between what happened a couple nights ago and what happened 6 months ago is that I wasn't there this time. I've literally done this fuck up already.
And you didn't open that door for the same reasons. So stop.
Another deep exhale. God damn it! I guess that is one of my weaknesses, if you could call it that. So I don't know why y'all don't know when to quit, but I guess that's a good trait to have. Being stubborn.
Well, yeah, that's how you combat your stubborn, with us being equally stubborn.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm advocating for you instead of against you, so clearly something was successful here, right?
Stakes hops off of the table she was sitting cross-legged on. I'll tell you what I need, Raymond. You want to know what I need to move on? It's what I've needed for weeks now. Apologies. I was brought back here because Delphine apologized. Rory apologized and she didn't even need to. She did nothing wrong. But in my eyes, 3 of you still owe me one. And haven't yet. 3 of you talked shit about my friends, my family. Drove me away from my other family. Had to make me choose. Do you want me to move on? Don't make me choose again.
Stakes. I'm sorry for being an ass in front of the other Sept and in that car that night. I don't think badly of your old pack mates. I was just being an idiot and letting my personal grudges make me a dick. And I shouldn't have.
Thank you, Forged.
I'm sorry for not giving you the space to celebrate being back here and being able to see your friends and see how much better they're doing. I wasn't being mindful of how you were feeling and all of that. And I'm really sorry that I just immediately started talking about my suspicions and basically just shit talking them. I was also being a real dick.
Thank you, Juniper.
I'll look over to Stakes. I'm sorry for neglecting your happiness. I was happy to see Red again and everything, but I also neglected to see how you felt about the situation. I was also suspicious, and I don't know who started the conversation, but I feel like I did. I started the beginning of it to start the suspicions to spread. And I was wishful in that moment that they are better and they're doing better, but I was still causing the suspicions to happen. So if I didn't say anything, then that whole argument may not have even started. So I'm sorry.
Thank you, Raymond. I know you are all getting better. I know you are all doing better. And I will always put your health, safety, and happiness before my own. Because that's what a mother does. I care so much about you. And I will always forgive you. Even if you don't say it. But part of being better guru is saying it. So thank you. I'm good. She reaches down into her cargo pants pocket and fishes out a large beer and hops back up onto the table and cracks it open.
Steaks, it's warm.
And
Dolphin just makes a disgusted face.
I just kind of chuckle to myself.
Forged, what do you need? You were trying to say something before and you stopped yourself.
See that Forge kind of starts and stops a couple times. Forge just kind of shaking his head, and he'll just say, I don't know. I don't know what I need. I don't know if I need anything. I don't know if it's just who I am, you know? So, I don't know what to tell you.
Rory will adjust her position on the bed, kind of sit cross-legged now, looking at him. Giving him a look of, you and I both know that this is not the case. Alright, so how about if I ask the question?
I'm telling you, I wish I knew, but I just have so much anger all the time, and it's so fucking annoying. And I'm told that I'm supposed to be the Arun, you know, I'm the guy that breaks things and you know, the one that's blunt, that's violent, that's the warrior, you know, the soldier. And it feels like whenever I try and not break shit, I try and not be violent, but it just builds up more and more over time until I eventually lose control and I do some fucking stupid shit. So I don't know. I'm trying.
Do you want to set up a rage room to go to and get it all out every once in a while?
Maybe. I don't know if that would help or not. It may sound kind of stupid considering how it went first, you know, first meeting went down, but I was actually thinking about crazy enough talking to Charles about it, because somehow he seemed to keep his cool despite everything, which is strange as fucking hell. And I just don't know how he does it. And it pisses me off, and I want to find out what his secret is.
You could also ask Red, you know. He's not a pissy person, and he's an Arun, and he's pretty chill. He's actually a pretty jovial guy. You get to know him. Like, he's, even when he was at his worst, he wasn't an angry, breaking stuff dude.
I was thinking about it, but just kind of thought about the shit that I did, and it kind of made me not want to as much. If that makes sense.
I mean, we do need to foster trust between our people and them, so that actually might help if spending time with them.
That'd be more time up here, which not what you want.
We got the moon bridge. Also, phones exist.
I guess I'd actually have to, put him in my contacts. I told him I would, but I actually never did.
I feel like, Forge, you may need to find an outlet. Find something that allows you to, I don't know if channel your anger, but something that you find fun, something that can help you compile your thoughts. Because from what it sounds like you said, it's just building. And I don't know if the constant drinking and partying is that correct outlet. I'm not saying that's wrong or bad, but we can try to help you figure something out.
I don't know a lot about feelings, but maybe you need to feel something else that besides anger, and you're just hiding from it in anger. Maybe what you're feeling right now is what you're supposed to be feeling instead. You're using anger instead. Like sad or depressed or whatever they call it.
Yeah, you're on the right track, Stakes. And I think finding an outlet might be beneficial. After all, this is one of the rare times I see you with your own guitar after lecturing me so much about my instrument. And she'll give him like a playful, like, teasing gesture.
There'll be like a small little smile that forms as kind of looks down at my guitar, or my hand along it, as I'll think for a moment and say, if I will say this feels way worse than being angry all the time, but probably right. It sounds like something Heather would say. You kind of just think on that for a second and just continue looking at my guitar.
Are you angry when you're with your pup?
Kind of freezes for a moment before kind of looking up and silently
What?
shake my head. It's the whole situation that happened, and the girl knocked at the door. I don't feel angry when I see him. I don't know how exactly I feel, but it doesn't feel shitty. At least not all the time.
Maybe you need more of that. Other than the time I yelled at you guys in the car, I like being with you. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel like I have purpose.
Hold on a second. Forged, you. We're talking about you having a child right now?
Yes. That's. Yeah.
I just sit there, face completely deadpanned. Okay. Okay.
I'll look at everyone else and see if they have anything that they need. Just give them all looks.
Stakes just stares at Delphine, a long, hard stare, holding the beer up to her mouth and taking a long sip before lowering it, not blinking, not breaking eye contact.
Delphine will just stare at Stakes. I don't know if what I need would be good going into what we're about to go into.
Saying it would. Even if it can't be done yet.
I need Juniper to help my parents move on.
Rory will just look between Juniper and Delphine, a little confused.
I just stare at Delphine and I don't look at anybody else in the room. I don't really know how to do that, Delphine. I need your help. Are we going to help each other?
She feels just like that little bit of rage that is always in her now, just starting to bubble up again, just at this whole situation. All I can do is talk to them. Whatever they want, that's going to be on you.
I just. It's gonna take both of us to do that. So. That's why I was asking if you were willing to help.
I'll speak with them. And I will use this gift
to be able to evidently I don't know, communicate. She looks confused because she still doesn't fully understand what happened with the Shadowlands. With the dead.
So are we just gonna keep dancing around whatever the fuck's happening right now? I'm pretty sure me, Ray, and Rory are just not clued in on whatever the hell this is right now. And I've talked about my kid. I feel like if I get to talk about my kid, we should be airing out like all this shit, okay?
Do you remember when I told you that I would tell you who killed Delphine's parents?
That was not that long ago, yeah.
I look over at Forged, and then I look back at Delphine.
Juniper murdered my parents for allegedly, I say allegedly, being responsible for what happened to her family.
I just barely managed not to roll my eyes at the allegedly part and maintain my stoic face.
Just wide-eyed, staring, looking over towards you, then back to Delphine, then towards you. Now with everything making sense that was mentioned before in our conversations and things adding up, and just kind of, what the fuck?
Well, that explains quite a few things now. All right. And she just kind of like shifts awkwardly, not knowing where to go after now finding out this information.
Just so I guess that explains why you said you couldn't do anything when talking about your shit, Delphine.
Yeah. By the rule of law in human society, she murdered my parents. But by Geru law, she did nothing. She did nothing wrong. And all I could potentially do is issue a challenge, but issuing a challenge isn't going to help me feel better about it. And honestly, I don't think anything will.
Well,
But I have to
that's
just live with it.
this many of us, Steak says, holding 3 fingers up. She then looks towards Juniper and makes that same dead-eyed eye contact as she lifts the beer and takes a long sip.
I just kind of look around at everybody after that nice little reveal. And I shrug my shoulders. I mean, I don't know if anybody would be really feeling up to it anymore after that, but I don't really want to be unnecessarily bullied. And I'll give a look over to Forged. And constantly feeling like I'm the only one left out of this pack. And also, forgiven. But that's probably not going to happen for a while.
Just Forrest just kind of still reeling from this information and this revelation, just kind of staring, like not exactly at Juniper, but like kind of the wall behind Juniper, just kind of stop for a moment. Just I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm trying to not be as much of a dick, but I don't know. This is a lot going on right now. It's kind of take in.
It is a lot, but remember what I said after this fight that you two had. You guys need to get over your issues. You keep being at each other's throat and throwing out these hurtful digs and constantly berating each other. I mean, it's gonna this fight is gonna happen again. And Juniper does raise a good point. Forge, most of the time it is you that is perpetuating it.
What's ironic is, despite you both not getting along very often, you both match each other's energy very frequently.
I look like I want to say something as I think back, like once again, to that night of the TV, but I just stop myself and I just shake my head, knowing that no one would believe me anymore, or at least care to listen. They'll just wordlessly nod.
Stakes looks over towards Rory. Realizing that the beer is empty, she sets the can down and fishes into the other pants pocket, pulling out another one and cracking the can open.
I swear, instead of Mary Poppins' bag, you got Mary Poppins' jeans right there, girl.
She nods. I don't know what a Mary Poppins is, but yes.
I'll show you the movie one night. I think you'll get a kick out of it. And then she'll kind of just adjust how she's sitting so she's not like just facing in one direction. I guess what I need is well, other than Forged, I guess I feel like none of you really know who I am. And know aspects of me that I'm good at talking around people. I play country music. I play an instrument. But it's like any time I spend with the rest of you, it feels like none of you even bother to learn about my history, yet I'm trying to not only do my thing as a galliard, and document ours for the future, but And she'll kind of trail off there and sit there awkwardly. Now feeling like, well, that was more than I wanted to admit.
I know you and me, we tried a while ago to get to know each other. And we started, but I do admit that I haven't spent a lot of time getting to know you more. And I mean, I think that goes a little bit for all of us too. Some of us know more about each other than others, but as a pack as a whole, we still don't know too much about each other. So I agree, Rory. We don't spend a lot of time getting to know you personally, but I think that it also works for everyone as well.
Yeah, but I know a decent amount about you all, is the thing. I know y'all had families. I know y'all's struggles. I know y'all had things that drove you down the paths that you've gone down. How many of you, Forge, you don't butt in on this, can actually say that you know what drove me to do what I do? And that I'm more than just a wildflower that'll occasionally pick a fight, that'll occasionally ask the questions to stir the pot.
I admit I haven't gotten to know you as much as you've gotten to know me. I was wrapped up in what I was assigned to do to help Forged, but that's not a good excuse for having neglected you.
Like I said, I need to do better. I tried, but I haven't been trying recently. So I'll change that. Spend more time getting to know who you really are.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think we all, if we'd be open to it, could probably benefit from group therapy with Artie.
Therapy? Hold on, hold on. I don't need therapy. Okay, I mean, I talked to a chick who tells me about them therapy stuff, so I can. That's like, well, I can learn some stuff. But I don't go to therapy. I don't need it.
How about you think about it as how to be a functioning pack 101?
But now you said therapy, and now I can't unsee that now. Look, I mean, if it's teamwork exercises, maybe, but that we can go to an escape room or something like that, but no therapy.
Gotcha.
I mean, you can just think of it as additional lessons from just a different set member. Instead of doing training with Charles, we're doing talking with Artie.
Training with Artie. Also, you can just view Artie as the male equivalent of that woman that you're seeing that gives you therapeutic sentences sometimes, as you put it.
You know what you could, how about as an incentive? Artie didn't always used to look the way he does now, and if you keep going to sessions, he might show you a picture of what he looked like a few months ago.
That is tempting. Look, like I said, we can make it rename it to like teamwork exercises, and I'm a little bit more on board, and hopefully, something that's not boring as hell to do. And I'll listen, but
All right, blah, blah, blah. Raymond. You're up, slugger.
I'll give out a exhale and look around the room. I don't know if you all feel this way. I know Forge has voiced it a few times. But what I need, or what I want, is a little bit more. Know if the correct word is respect. I don't know, as a leader. Because I don't really know what I'm doing here. I don't have any experience doing what I'm doing. And it's gotten better. But the digs, the soldier boys, the having a stick up my butt comments, the comments after I air quote suck up to the elders. It's aggravating. And I'm just doing what I think I need to do to keep us moving forward so that way we can get better. I know some of you are better than others, and the others are getting better. But it really drains not knowing if you guys actually care or think of me in any way as a leader. I know you look to me at times to speak first or to ask my opinion, but I don't know if that is more so just to keep me in the conversation or because of you're looking to the leader. I don't really know.
I know most of you didn't take Raymond being made leader by Red well. Raymond didn't ask for it either. He didn't ask to be named leader. It was put upon him because someone had to do it. If he didn't, who would? Look at the actions everyone has done in the months since this pack formed. Who would have been better than Ray? Honestly. Who would have put themselves before Aspen and taken responsibility for all of you? Who would have put their head on the chopping block in front of Charles after the things you all have done? would be sitting in meetings with Red, knowing that he could potentially be a monster. Potentially. You might not have thought he earned it at the time he got it. But if you don't think he's earned it since, you haven't been paying attention. Jokes are fine. We all have to have fun time to time, and I think even Raymond understands that. But there's a time when the jokes stop. You have my respect. You have my. And then she lets out a belch, respectfully.
I mean, it's hard to explain this shit. It's hard to fully talk about, but I don't really respect dudes, people for that matter, till like it should at least have a little bit of like what I feel like a spine or feel like they're on my level, have my back, you know? I mean, what you not I'm not trying to start any shit with this, but like what you did with Juniper, I thought that shit was like, hey, I thought I was respectable, you know? You stood your ground there, you got tossed, lost a couple points for that, but I mean, hey, I I just I don't like the fancy talk. I don't like feeling like someone's trying to talk around me and mislead me, you know? I don't like those type of people. So just whenever you kind of do that shit, I can't really respect that. That's just something I don't, not in my values, you know? So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm trying to be not as much of an unruly douchebag. You know, try and at least listen to a few things, but it's yeah.
I mean, in our first big talk, didn't I also stand up to you? I mean, you also tossed me around. But I got back up. I stood in your face and I talked to you. I didn't back down the entire time. And on the boat, when we first encountered the first two vampires, didn't I run first into one of them and hold them off for a few seconds before Juniper came and joined me while you and the others were dealing with the other? I mean, I've been standing my ground in situations this entire time. I might not be as strong as you, and yeah, I use words to my advantage at times, and I dance around things, but I don't openly lie to you. I can't really lie to anyone. I think we've established that.
Have you guys just actively hung out outside of just Guru stuff?
Nah.
Not yet.
Should?
You know, actually, I think I can kind of tell you what kind of pisses me off about you, or at least what angers me, maybe. Now, don't let's get this to your fucking head, okay? So I'm gonna say this once, never again. No one's ever gonna bring this up, all right? But whenever you get knocked on your ass, tossed around, and all that bullshit, I can't believe I'm saying this shit, but you always get back up, and that's And that pisses me off. There you go. There you have it. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
I'll take it.
This is what I'm talking about, Forge. You're covering up for feeling something else with anger. Maybe try feeling the other thing. Maybe the other thing is respect.
It it makes me mad because, oh my god, it makes me mad because I wish I was more like that. There you go. So I guess it is kind of like a respect shit. There you go. Because when I get knocked down, usually I don't get back up. I just accept what happened. I don't really keep going, as we just saw with me telling us to all give up. So I don't like talking about this. So if we can just, I think I've got my point across. Someone else talk about how they need to respect Ray or whatever.
I've tried to show little bits of respect, but I guess I'm not doing it in the way you expected, or I'm not coming across the right way. I mean, the last time we spoke, you called me stupid. And granted, I was most likely being stupid. But I wanted to make sure we had the best opportunity to get the job done, and wanted to be 100% sure that with what you were asking from me was not gonna come back and bite me in the ass. Yeah, I tease you and call you names and yes sir you, and you get under my skin, but I am trying to show that respect that you deserve as our leader.
I'll nod a little bit. That was harsh what I said, I can admit. I think it was just a miscommunication of me not fully understanding what you were asking. But like I said in that moment, I thought I was giving a good answer. I was telling you to use your skills, that you know yourself what you're good and what you aren't at. You yourself know how to read people when you first encounter them to know how best to go about it. So I was trying to show you respect for your skills and letting you handle it how I thought you would know how to handle it well. And when you questioned me on it, I think that was just a boiling point of getting questioned maybe one too many times, or just annoyance of not being understood. And I apologize that I called you stupid, because that's not true. But I thought I was getting it across, and that is my bad. And I'm not saying that you haven't been showing little bits of respect, but maybe I just wasn't noticing it. And that's my bad as well.
I accept that apology. And I'll do better on my end to try and communicate better as well.
There. Doesn't everybody feel better?
I mean, little bit. Still feels shitty, but I guess if we're all feeling kind of shitty and talking about it, not as bad. They say misery loves company, right?
Whatever happens in the negotiations, that's what we were sent here to do. We can't go back empty handed. Whether it's just an agreement, whether it's with iron. But one thing's for certain, we're not going to sit here waiting while they go do it. So whether we're going with them or we're going home, nothing in between. Because I won't sit here while they go do it. I won't. That's just it. We have to be doing something, whether we go back to Tampa and help them down there with whatever they're dealing with, or we go up to the mines. Nothing in between. Because we can't be idle in all of this. We have to be doing something. Or else, what are we doing?
I mean, not wrong. I'll do whatever y'all are thinking of. I mean, the right thing to do is probably help them out. I mean, the most, fair thing to do. Just maybe a couple more days of healing. I mean, if Delphine and Sean can speed it up faster, I mean, I'd be able to get there sooner.
We got two paths that we can go for. I mean, if we can accomplish one of them and head down one, then it's a win. Because, yeah, we can't go back empty handed. We can't go back and turn away from those two paths. We have to see where it goes and decide on one of them and stick to it.
Let's see what they have to say. So as the pack wraps up the conversation, you have one more thing to say there, Forged?
As the conversation is wrapping up, I'll actually, kind of, they're talking more about the mission. I'll look to Rory, who's sitting close, as I'll say, hey, Rory, after this, could you stick around for a little bit? I was wondering if you would. Yeah, I'm playing my guitar, and I was wondering if you want to talk about, instruments, especially your dobro. I was wondering if you would want to talk about that.
She'll look a little shocked. Mainly at the fact that he addressed her instrument by the right type of instrument. And then, yeah, I'll stick around. I was just gonna go grab a quick glass of water, and I'll go grab you one too, and then I guess I'll be right back so we can talk about that. And she'll awkwardly get up and go and get water.
So as I was saying, as the group finishes their conversation, and goes their separate ways to go about their business, whether it's healing or having a conversation or just simply considering all that's been said. This is where we go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story, where the deliberations begin. See you shortly. Welcome back. In the first half, the pack planned for the upcoming deliberations, as well as laid out most of their issues on the table with one another in hopes of establishing trust for the challenges that lay ahead in the future. Now, in the second half, we find ourselves in the Hell Saloon, a common meeting place of the Sept from Hell. This is where the deliberations are to take place. The bar, of course, has been closed, as this is a late night meeting after the typical operating hours of the Hell Saloon. There are very few vehicles in the parking lot. There's the police cruiser, obviously belonging to Aaron, as well as the van for the Hell Saloon that Red often brings to and from the establishment. There's the vehicles you brought. And then there's no other vehicles in the gravel driveway. As you arrive and make your way inside, the lights in the establishment are on, although some of the external spotlights, the extra lights that they have on when the business operating hours are going on, have been turned off to give the establishment the closed feeling so that no passersby try to come in and disturb the proceedings that are taking place. When you enter into the establishment, you see the typical faces. Red, Aaron, Sean, and Rick. Rick, the man who very few of you have taken the time to meet, who very few of you have gotten to know, and maybe even have never seen before. Rick, a man in his 30s, possibly early 30s, possibly mid 30s. It's pretty hard to tell from his sandy blonde hair that has bits of gray in it. He wears a plaid shirt and jeans and boots. He has a very pleasant smile on his face with laugh lines and crinkles at the corner of his eyes and a nice full beard with a little bit of a bushiness at the bottom that shows a outdoorsman style life. He definitely gives off that pleasant aura that Stakes was talking about, a peaceful calm. Some tables have been pushed together for everyone to be able to find pleasant seating. Red is standing as everyone enters, but the other three are seated. Of course, as you arrive, Red offers drinks to anyone who wishes any. There's pitchers of water and glasses on the table, but for anyone who wants something more, beer, cider, even cocktails for those who wish it are provided. Free, of course. And this is where the scene begins. Red starts by saying, "Welcome, everyone. I'm glad we could all get together for this conversation. I'm sorry our last meeting was on such unpleasant terms, but I'm glad that everyone's looking better and feeling better, I hope," he says, looking specifically to Forged and Juniper. "You do look like you're recovering nicely, but of course, business waits for no man or woman, so we should get to it. Please, everyone have a seat. Let's talk about everything we have ahead of us. I want to start by saying I have reached out to both the Wisconsin and Ohio Septs in advance of this meeting to ask for their assistance in the taking of the mines and what they would need in exchange for their assistance. And based off of what they have requested, I'm prepared to ask what the Sept from Florida is willing to offer to see if it will suit any of those needs.
Before getting into the conversation, are the tables set up to where like they would be facing us and then we would be facing them?
Very much like a business style, yes. There's your side and then their side.
Okay. I will approach the table in the middle and sit in the middle and grab like a glass and fill it up with water. I'll look at Red. So what exactly would they need for them to help and assist us?
Well, I've spoken to the Ohio Sept out of Columbus, and they have asked for some technological assistance as well as legal aid, which I believe your Sept out of Tampa is proficient in and willing to offer, as we had mentioned before. And then the Sept out of Wisconsin is looking for assistance in the creation of a moon bridge, as well as potential ritual assistance. They also have asked for a favor in the future in terms of manpower.
I'll nod my head. Well, I mean, like how Sept, that those two things, I know Aspen has offered assistance in both of those ways from the Tampa sect. So 100% that can be arranged and that can be done. I know also for the Wisconsin Sept, it was expected that a moon bridge might want to be constructed between Hell and Tampa and maybe another Sept. So I think I'll turn to Delphine and Rory. Didn't we get a couple of stones?
Delphine will nod. Our Keeper of the Moon Bridge sent us with 2 stones to establish moon bridges if negotiations went well.
Excellent. I believe the issue with the Sept in Wisconsin, and he looks over towards Sean, and Sean speaks up. The issue with the Wisconsin Sept is that they have nobody there who knows the rite in order to open and construct the moon bridge. They would need someone capable to teach them and educate them in that rite. They would need someone to train them to be a gatekeeper.
Okay. I'll turn to everyone. Eliza's our gatekeeper, correct? Or is it
Artie.
Artie? Thank you. Pretty sure Artie would be willing to help and train. I would have to ask him specifically, but I don't see a problem with his willingness to help.
Very good. Well, that should secure their assistance. And again, a favor to the Wisconsin Sept in terms of manpower in the future in one of their assignments. They understand the magnitude of the work that they are doing here, and they will judge accordingly based off of the assignment what favor they ask in return in the future, and will make sure that it is equal to or lesser than the favor they are asking or being asked of them now.
I understand. I will let Aspen know about that stipulation, and I'm sure once the moon bridge is established, help will be ready and available rather quickly. So.
Excellent. Now that brings us to the present matter of our assistance. Obviously, we are more than willing to assist in the matter. However, the circumstances of our assistance have changed as due to some recent events. We asked Rick to return after the events of last week because as the owner of the home that was damaged in those events, we felt it necessary to bring him into these deliberations and have him weigh in on the matter with his feelings and his, well, judgment on how he felt reparations should be handled. As we all know, having been here before, it is a breach of the litany to disrespect another's property in that fashion. Now, we also understood that there was some miscommunication, so we are not expecting anything grave or aggressively handled. We're not looking for any rites of shame or anything like that. We want this handled as smoothly and peacefully as possible. But it does bring up some concerns. Rick, he looks over towards the sandy blonde-haired man. Rick stands up. Hello, everybody. I understand that there was a bit of an altercation at my home the other day. And I understand that some damage was done, some equipment broken, some damage to the foundation. It seems like some tempers got a little bit out of control and everyone could have maybe used a little bit of calm, maybe a little bit of peace. But that's the risk of being Guru. That all being said, this mission we're about to go into, it's a very dangerous one, and it requires focus. Having been to the mines, I have seen what they have up there and what they are working with. It is a very complex situation. I have brought back photos, and he presents a folder and opens it up, and you can see multiple printed photos of the mines showing trucks and security, fences, outposts, even armed guards. Being one of the largest iron mines in the country, one of the last fully run facilities, with multiple agencies working out of there, even some that I believe to be directly linked to the organization that your Sept is currently at odds with. You can see that it is a very delicate and fragile situation. So, I would ask what it is your pack is willing to offer in terms of recompense for the damage that was done, because I was very willing to offer you the space of comfort to stay. It's my pleasure to host you, but I did ask for respect for the privacy, and that respect was not given.
As Rick is speaking, I will be nodding along, and then in that last statement, kind of cock my head a little bit. First off, I would want to apologize for what happened and the damage that happened to your house. That was not anything that you should have had to go through, and it's not something that we should have ever done. But like Red said, there was a slight miscommunication. We were unaware that it was your house. We did not know that this was your property, and ignorance is not an excuse for what happened. But we would have, going in, if we had known, been respectful of your privacy, been more respectful of the house, and tread a little bit more lightly. But that was left, unfortunately, unaware to us. We were just told that it was a house available that they were renting out.
So even without a lease agreement, it's a common practice to go breaking deadbolt locks or padlocks off of doors.
At this point, Forge will speak up. Right in front of me, I have 3 beers lined up. I'm only drinking from one right now. The other 2 are unopened. As I'll say, that's my fault, man. I got some shit when it comes to the foundations. Back in Tampa, like in the foundation of a house, there was this, weird creature. It's like reminded me of like one of us, but like it was freaking out, going crazy in the foundation. And look, after that, I just had to make sure there wasn't, nothing in there. Because if the same people are working from, down there, I don't know where the hell they put their stuff. So,
Roll me a
my fault.
manipulation. Roll me a manipulation and subterfuge.
Yeah.
Can I say something to be able to help out?
Sure.
I assume Rage 1, by the way.
I would say Rage 2. This is an
Alright.
intense deliberation. But go ahead, Juniper. What do you want to say to assist?
Yeah, it was a very intense situation, and we're all a bit weary from houses. It's not an excuse, but he's telling the truth.
On my 7 dice, I got 6 successes, no crit.
Then why were you holding a box? Sean says. A box that was buried beneath possessions.
Not gonna lie, I felt the call. I felt the call of the rat. You know how we are when it comes to things that are not supposed to be known, like secrets. I saw it and I thought I let it kind of get to me. I thought I wanted to kind of find out what it was, and that's on me. That's my fault. But I did go down there originally too, because that fucking voice in my head, that concern.
And you
I
didn't
can't say that.
feel it right to just ask any of the elders about the foundation of the house that we were going to loan you.
I'm telling you about the. Okay, so it's kind of hard to explain, but my leadership told me not to share that information with my pack mates about the thing in the foundations. And I assumed that was to be extended to literally everyone else, because if I can't tell my pack mates, that means I can't tell anyone.
Well, I appreciate that being honest.
It was, I guess it's kind of already, we're at this point already. It was apparently something called an abomination. So after I saw that thing, it freaked me the fuck out, and yeah. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but I didn't.
Red furrows his brow slightly, looking between Sean and Rick, and then looking towards Raymond. So, is this the story they told you?
After they woke up from their injuries and I questioned them, their memory wasn't fully there. And when I tried to dig and I tried to drill, they didn't remember everything that happened down there. And being with them this entire time, I've asked a couple more times, and it doesn't seem like their memory has returned fully. I don't know the full story about what's going on because, as far as I'm aware, they don't remember most of what happened down there.
That's not what I asked. Is this the story that they told you?
They told me that they went down to investigate the basement, and while investigating, they got into an argument and ended up fighting. As far as I'm aware, that is the story that I know.
Very well.
If I may add something, like I said, I was told not to tell anyone else in the Sept or my pack about that. So I couldn't tell him exactly that part.
I
I
understand.
couldn't tell anyone that.
Well, thank you for your honesty. Well, question still remains. What are you willing to offer Rick for the damage that was done?
So unfortunately, like, we can't pay back the headache that that this caused, and the worry and the disrespect, but we can pay back all the equipment that was broken. We can fix foundation. Juniper is handy in construction, and with all of our hands put together, we can work on fully fixing your basement out of our own pocket. So that way, no damage remains and any broken equipment can be replaced.
Is this agreeable to you, Rick? Well, with the cost of the equipment and the cost of the repairs to the foundations, I believe should equate to about $30,000 or so dollars, but I believe if they are willing to pay for it to be done, then I should consider that enough, yes.
You hear Ford just and just start spitting up their drink in utter shock, like what the fuck? Ford just kind of trying to collect themselves.
And I believe, Rick, Red says you had some thoughts in regards to the mission as well. As you are still the offended party, I would hear your thoughts on that. Yes, I do. As I was saying, this mission is, well, it's going to require a great deal of trust, and I fear that I'm not sure that I can express a great deal of trust in this matter, even in the story that was told of what occurred. I'm not entirely sure it's completely accurate. But that's neither here nor there. They've agreed to pay for the repairs. But this is a very delicate matter. Since they are willing to do all that was requested and they are willing to offer the formula for the iron that is requested, my suggestion is that we take the assistance of the Wisconsin and Ohio Septs, and we take on this mission and have the emissaries return to Florida. But I think the best way to assure success in this matter is if our entire pack goes. With that, Red looks towards Stakes. We could use the help of a good Ragabash. would help ensure our success. Stakes, sitting in her chair, the bottle of beer in her hand, stares at Red, and then turns to look at the rest of you.
We don't want to make you choose. And I take a second to look at the others. But we're not gonna leave you behind either.
I said it was going to take compromise and potentially sacrifice.
I will look at Stakes with the understanding of that deal that I made with Stakes before coming up here. And I will stare at her for a few seconds. If this is what you want to do, and if you want to go with them to help complete the mission, I stand by it and I support your decision.
I'll kind of like look over like and just say like I'll start like I imagine I'll actually be like sitting next to him. I'll kind of like pull him in as I'll say, "What the fuck are you saying? We're a package deal. She's with us. We gotta support her. What the fuck are you saying?"
I will also just turn and look at Ray and just stare at him.
I will turn and to, I guess, also whisper at Forged, "Hey, we are a package deal, but she can make a choice. And if this is what she wants to do, we can argue with her until we're blue in the face. But if this is what you know how stubborn Stakes is. If this is what she wants, this is what she wants."
After he says that, I will whisper under my breath, "What if we use this to finally prove ourselves as a pack and prove that we can have our shit together and not leave Stakes here? And not go back empty-handed."
Rory's gonna look over to Ray for a quick moment. And then she's going to look over at Rick. You mentioned something about trust, and I completely understand where you see that there may be a lack in it. And I'd like to, if willing, while we are repairing these services, give you an opportunity to share with the Sept up here the stories of how that is not entirely the case. This incident, I see it more as a growing pain of that trust getting stronger. And if Stake chooses to stay, another way to build that trust between, and she'll look at Stake's, her original pack and ours, after all of the mistrust and tension and wedges drawn between all of us. I think maybe that land bridge could be a way to extend it, a way for us to build that trust, show that we're not all dwelling on the past in a sense and willing to try and fix things even though there's going to be a bunch of bumps in the road.
I appreciate what you're saying, and I want nothing more than to establish trust between our two sides. But trust must start with trust, and beginning with a bold-faced lie to my face about your intentions of going into my basement is not a good start. Telling the true story of why you go downstairs would have been a good beginning. This wasn't it.
I mean, it was part of it, okay? It was a part. I can't deny that. There's other parts to it too, but I felt that was the most relevant to talk about.
Partial truths might as well just be lies.
I look like I want to say something back, but I will hold myself, and I will just take a deep breath, a sharp inhale, and just look down towards my hands as I'm currently clenching my fist near the table, just sitting there.
I am also white knuckling it underneath the table.
I would imagine Rory's probably on the end because it sounded like Forge and Juniper on each side of Ray, so Rory will kind of just grab Forge's arm to try and be like, take a breath.
If y'all need a moment to talk about it, we'd be happy to step out and give you the floor to have a moment to deliberate. We understand that this is a very important conversation to be had, and it is an unexpected development, but a lot of unexpected developments happened this past week, and it has altered the conversation. At this point, Red looks towards Raymond. Do you need a minute?
I'll look around at everyone and then look at Red and be like, it would be much appreciated if we could have a couple minutes.
You got it. He looks towards Sean and Rick and Aaron and gives them a nod before giving a head tick towards the back room. And they all stand up and head towards the back office.
I remember why I don't like Rick.
Delphine will activate penumbral senses.
Okay.
Did Stakes stay with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 successes.
Looking around, still the same room. Same Weaver spirits constructing and upkeeping the bar. Same wild beyond.
Delphine will give a cursory look around and then look to the others. We're clear. We should assume that they can hear us.
Stakes said we have to be willing to give something. And it's also Stakes' choice whether or not she goes on this mission and stays.
They also said a lot about trust and how and Rick said that that partially telling the truth was basically lying. I mean, they haven't been exactly honest with us. They didn't inform us about that it was Rick's house. They also chose when we returned to tell us about all of the reasons behind the strife, instead of being open with us when we were pups, new to the Sept. They want to talk about trust. They didn't have a good start at it.
Everything that you're saying is right, Delphine, but if we even try to bring any of that up, it's just going to be seen as nitpicking, and we're not in a position to say anything.
So we just sit back and take this like good little pups, just sit here and let them, I guess, just use us how they see fit. It's not fair for us. I mean, we promised to fix everything we fucked up, and we promised to pay back 30K, by the way, which I don't know any of you, but I don't have that fucking money lying around, and we're gonna have to get that money, but we still offer to do all that, and yet we still have to give, and talking about trust and shit.
We could always be maliciously compliant.
And then what? For what purpose? Cause more problems?
I don't think that's the correct avenue to go down. And
No, sorry, go ahead.
And honestly, I think we can be nitpicky. We just have to word it correctly. We have to not be too judgmental to their face about potential hypocrisy, but we need to word it in the correct way to see that where we're coming from. They might shoot us down, but at least we can kind of try to show them a double standard, which might work.
I frankly also do not feel comfortable leaving Stakes up here by herself without us, I haven't seen him yet, but that doesn't mean he won't come back. And this place has had issues with Fenris in the past. I don't want to leave her here alone.
It's like, it's
We're
more than
talking-
just go ahead.
Sorry, we're talking as if she's not standing right here with us.
I'll say it to her face. She'll look directly to Stakes. After everything you've said, I don't want to leave you here alone. I can't trust that wolf will come back.
And we've talked about, you know, the whole coming together with a pack thing and trusting each other and making things work. And we talked, you know, that's kind of the only people we had with each other. So why are we just gonna let you go and potentially do something incredibly dangerous on your own? You wouldn't let us do that shit. So why can't we do the same for you?
I said that we weren't going to make you choose, but we weren't going to leave you behind either. I personally would rather we go with than watch you go off on one. It's not even this Sept, it's not even this pack. It's just, well, I know that I don't want to physically walk away from you.
I know. I told you that I'm always going to put your health, safety, and welfare first. But I'm also asking all of you to put your trust in me. If you don't trust them, fine. But I need you to trust me. For once, trust me completely. When have I ever not been able to take care of myself? If you stay here, you're asking me to divide my attention between myself and you. If this is what they want, let them have it. I have always survived. This is my pack, good, bad, or otherwise. And I told you that I wasn't going to let them go do this while we sat here. This is the bed we made. You think you were entitled to the full story. I could have told you that story too, and I didn't. So I'm as much to blame as they are. You don't get access to everything. It wasn't your story to know. That was a very hard time for us. We lost our family and our friends, and we didn't know you. You came to us a criminal. You came to us a murderer, a drug dealer, or a drug addict. You came to us with checkered pasts. Would you have learned the story eventually? Maybe. But you weren't entitled to it. And now you know it, because I trusted to tell you, and so did they. Is there a double standard? Maybe. And when you're an elder, you can make your own double standards. I'm not choosing between you and them. Believe it or not, I am choosing you. Because this is the only way the mission will go forward. And if I go, I believe we will succeed. At least I can try and ensure it.
What if we also added the caveat that a moon bridge needed to be established between our Septs?
I think that's smart. Worst comes to worst, it gives me an escape. But I have survived this entire time, even before you got here. Even when things were at their worst. But I did it because I was alone. What I need from you is for you all to work together and survive, because I won't be there for you in Tampa until I get back.
Rory's gonna lean back in the chair and cross her arms. But this doesn't mean that you're getting out of that story you owe me.
I will come home. I promise.
Well, I don't fucking like it, but whatever to get this mission done, I guess.
Don't take it out on the elders of Tampa. They didn't do this.
Imagine at some point I stood up during this conversation, and as I'm kind of looking left to right, seeing more and more of us kind of submitting to this plan, I kind of let out a kind of growl, like just in frustration, as I just let my head kind of go, go low. And I'll just sit back down slowly and just take a deep breath and just say, fine, if that's what we have to do.
One additional caveat, I think. This one's for you, Stakes. If we establish this moon bridge and you're in trouble, you have to call us. Because we can come and help.
Don't know how to use a phone.
I will teach you before we leave.
Just get her a flip phone. Those things are indestructible, aren't they? The Nokia or whatever. Aren't they easy to use?
I will try. There are other ways to call you, but I will try.
Just whatever one works.
Trust me.
Stakes, out of everyone, I trust you the most. And I know that you will do everything in your power to be safe and get home. And I mean, I don't like leaving you here. I think I voiced that before. But this is your decision. And I respect whatever decision you make. So.
I know. And I hoped it wouldn't come to this. And I hoped I wouldn't have to ask all of you to do this. And I wouldn't ask all of you to do this if I didn't think it was absolutely necessary. But I promise I will come home. Besides, you don't have to leave yet. You have some things to finish here before you go.
I'll nod at that. And I'll look at everyone in a disgruntled agreement. And I will get up from the seat and then walk over to the back room and knock on the door.
The door opens and Red steps out. You ready for us?
Yes, thank you.
Red, Aaron, Sean, and Rick return to their seats. So do we have an agreement?
We do. If you need Stakes to complete this mission, Stakes is willing to stay, then we're okay with that. But if it's possible, before we leave, we want to try and establish the moon bridge for the trade route and any quick assistance that is needed, potentially, before we leave.
Absolutely. It'll make delivery of the iron that much easier, too. We'll take care of her. You know she's one of ours. We don't let anything happen to our girl.
We all know, but like you said when we talked, Stakes is like a mom to us, and we're her kids, so we worry.
Trust me, we know. We wouldn't ask this if it wasn't going to help us do what you need us to do.
At some level, I know that we all understand that.
This'll help us all move forward. And we'll get you what you need. And then we can put all this nastiness behind us and take care of whatever this issue is we're all dealing with. And then we can talk about whatever this plan Morning Kill has for a nation. Give us this trust to take care of stakes, and it will be returned.
I'm gonna, if I can, I want to roll my insight because I have not rolled one a single time this whole game.
Go
the
for
whole
it.
arc. I should be using that dice spot. This is taking too much time to grab these dice. I'll use a willpower. Yay, I got 3 successes.
Okay, with 3 successes, Red genuinely means he will take care of stakes.
Just gonna keep quiet and just try and avoid saying anything and just nodding.
I look back and forth between everybody. And I will also do an insight check, but I would like to do an insight check on more than just I want to do an insight check on all of them, I guess.
Okay. Trying to insight check the entire group would either raise the difficulty or give you a very kind of generic response.
Okay, never mind. I will just insight check him instead.
Okay. Yeah, because it'd be like a vibe check of the room and you'd get kind of a vague idea.
I got 4 successes.
He seems to be very genuinely, one, concerned with making this deal happen, but two, also is serious about protecting stakes and keeping her safe and making sure that she gets through this.
I'll look at Red. I understand. So, do we have a deal?
We do.
I will stand up and extend my hand to shake on it.
He stands up and offers out his hand, clasping yours with a firm grip. You can tell Miss Weiss, Aspen, that we're good to go. We'll have the Columbus Sept and the Wisconsin Sept at our backs. We should be able to roll out, hopefully, in about 10 days. We'll be heading up there and we'll get to work.
I'll relay that to her and let her know.
All right. Obviously, take whatever time you need to finish up whatever business you have here. We can get that moon bridge set up. Sean should be able to do that for you. And yeah, we should be good to go.
Sounds good.
With that, the elders all stand up, giving nods and some smiling, kind of appreciatively, but softly. The meeting starts to disperse.
Before fully dispersing, I'll have Delphine walk over to Sean and she'll look at him. I want to say thank you for helping Forged a few days ago. It wasn't in my capabilities.
I'm always happy to assist. It's the least I can do.
She'll hold out her hand. I appreciate it nonetheless.
Of course. Reaches out his hand.
Yeah, sight from beyond. I'm gonna do sight from beyond.
Okay.
But I'm at 2 rage because of drugs, but has my rage increased at all over this situation?
I would say so, yeah. You're probably at 3 rage now, considering Stakes being told to stay behind and...
Five successes with a crit.
Okay. As you touch Sean, your vision blurs. The air grows cold. There's wind in the air, whipping with an icy breeze. You see the snow collecting on the ground. It's winter. You're standing out in the cold snow. Sean is still standing in front of you. He casts a long shadow. And the shadow is of a large, hulking wolf. But then comes the sun. And as the sun rises, the snow melts away, and so does the wolf. His expression, dark and menacing in the cold, softens. What was anger becomes sadness. As the house in the distance, which was dark and full of red light, is now just dark and empty. As you watch, you see him looking off in the distance to something far away, longingly. You try to follow his view to where it's gone. Footsteps in the sand. Human footsteps. And then you look back. And Sean's body is on the ground, bloody and shredded. And in his blood is the pattern of a spiral. And the vision breaks.
I feel like I have to do a composure and resolve.
You do.
Five successes, no crit.
Eh. You are able to. Your breath catches in your throat for a moment, but you are able to keep your composure still.
She'll release his hand and just nod and start to drift back over to her pack.
Okay.
As actually, I'll see Delphine kind of drift over. I'm gonna stare, look at Rick for a second, look back at you, then I'll lean down and say, "Rick isn't a leader, right?"
You mean Sean?
No, Rick.
Red's the Sept leader.
So he's not the leader, so I can challenge him, right?
No.
No, this is not like beef and challenge, but potentially maybe just say, hey, maybe we could leave this up to like a challenge. If we lose,
No.
we do.
No. No.
I thought that was like a whole part of culture.
You can challenge. Okay, yes, challenges are part of our culture, but if you challenge him, he determines the challenge, not you.
Man, this sucks. There's just no way to like mess around with that. I was just hoping that maybe we could potentially work some things out with a challenge, but whatever.
Listen, we're $30,000. We're $30,000 in the hole already. Let's just not add a challenge on top of this.
Just shake my head if I continue to not understand guru politics as I will walk away.
Then she'll just sigh and head over to where Ray is.
So with the meeting concluded, all of you finish your drinks, say your goodbyes, and head out into the parking lot to return to the vehicle. You have a few moments to talk amongst yourselves, the elders still within the bar as they're wrapping up and closing up shop before you head back to the motel. If there's anything else you wish to say before we call this story to a close this evening.
Is Stakes with us?
Yeah.
I'm going to look at her and just furrowed brow, concerned. I don't think Fenris is going to be a problem with the mine, but I do think the spiral might be.
She furrows her brow. All right.
He's not my favorite person, but when you do go to the mines, watch Sean's back.
Will.
Is this a good time to ask what the spiral is? No one explained it to me yet.
Stakes, frowns. If you thought Fenris was bad, the Black Spiral Dancers are worse. Imagine if Guru, or if a tribe of Guru surrendered themselves to the worm. If they became enslaved by and servants of the worm. If they turned to the other side, gave themselves over, fought for the other team. All they want to see is the end of it all. Say what you will about Fenris, they still want to save Gaia. They just want to do so violently and with nothing to stand in their way. But the dancers, They want the apocalypse. They want the end. They want the decay and destruction of everything.
Why the fuck would anyone do that? That it's it doesn't seem to make any sense, and I don't know why everyone. Is it like something that you can just fall to? Like, just,
Yes.
What? What makes somebody fall to that? What? That doesn't make any. Like, is they.
The story
What?
as it was told to me is that an ancient tribe of Guru went into the Umbra to try and combat the worm directly, to fight it where it lives, and they never came out. And that is the birth of the Black Spiral Dancers. That tribe that went in became so corrupted, so twisted. They became slaves of the worm.
so that's how someone can lose the protection of Gaia, or at least one of us.
Yes.
Well, I got a bit to think about now. That
The difference
you
is
said that.
they don't lose it, they give it up.
So it's entirely just willing choice. It has to be something they willingly do.
Some do, others just lose it, but some give it up willingly, yes.
I don't get why Emberwood said what it said, but I don't know. Spirits are weird, I guess.
Sounds like you just need to be extra careful while going to this mine stakes.
I'll have to tell them in our preparations, but it's good to know. That makes me even more sure of our decision. Everything you've fought, vampires, whatever those infected creatures were, they're nothing compared to dancers. I promise you that.
Hopefully they just believe you when you tell them.
They will. And if not, I'll make them. As everyone gets into the cars, there's a silence on the drive home. The knowledge that in just a few days, you'll be on your way back to Tampa with one less member of your group, sending them into an unknown fate, an unknown future, trusting them that they will return, trusting that they know what they're doing. Trust is a very, very valuable thing. Even more valuable than $30,000. And this is where our story comes to a close, but not without one last scene. Our scene takes us back to the house, the rental property of Rick Rogers. Rick is on the phone, making a telephone call. He's down in the basement. There's the cracked foundation, the broken boxes, and the steel lockbox. He reaches into his pocket and withdraws a key and turns the key and opens up the box, revealing a stone. The stone has a slight, almost icky green sheen to it. Well, I think everything's gonna work out nicely. He reaches up and tugs at his shirt, pulling down the front of his shirt, revealing the spiral brand on his chest. Before closing the box and locking it. And this is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Next week will be our last episode of Hellhounds for the summer. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. You want to make sure to tune into that and tune in to our last episode of the summer of Rage Across Tampa on Tuesday at 10 p.m. over on Twitch. And the last episode of Hellhounds will be on YouTube on Friday at 7 p.m. So tune into that. And go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed in the description and join our community by following that Discord link. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Have a lovely evening, everyone.